Hey, welcome to another episode of Muscle Matters. You guys have tuned in for a great episode. This is probably going to be one of the best episodes we've done. This man right here is a living legend. This man right here is the strongest bench presser to ever, period, in Kern County. Be right back. Hey, welcome back to the Muscle Matters. And I'm sitting here with the legendary Sam Samiago. This is my childhood hero. As strong as you guys think I was, this is the shadow I was chasing. Sam, tell us a little about yourself. What got you started to lifting? I mean, you're the legend. What made a legend start lifting?
Well, like most people, I did it to get more size on me for sports. Originally.
What was your sport of choice?
Well, I did a little bit of everything. I played baseball was the first sport. I did Little League and all that stuff. And then when I got into school, I did football, baseball, and wrestling. And all those require strength.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, when I got into like high schools, when you really start getting into it, they had a universal machine. The big thing was to get your t-shirt was to total 1,000 pounds and 5 lifts.
Okay.
So that was the first challenge.
Now, what 5 lifts were there in high school?
It was just the universal machine.
Because they don't have that anymore.
The leg press, the shoulder press, the pull downs, just the regular. It was a universal machine. It had about 5 different exercises.
What grade level did you get your shirt at?
I got it when I was a sophomore.
Your sophomore year.
Yeah.
So we had 1,000 pound total as a sophomore.
Yeah, and 5 lifts on that universal. It wasn't really like a powerlifting thing, but it got us stronger because it got us in the gym, got us started, and we did a lot of running and quickness drills and stuff. But got us started in that, and I naturally was good because I was just naturally strong, I guess, because I had a lot of background in the work. I worked in a wholesale meat business where I bucked beef when I was a little kid, so loading trucks and stuff like that.
You got the good steaks out the gate, huh?
Oh yeah, I used to clean it after everybody went home. I was cleaning the place also, so I was kind of
a little bit for me.
This little piece is no good. I got to take that one home.
I was just talking to a friend today, and we were talking about how all the farm kids were just so much bigger than everybody else because you got that fresh cattle. You look at through the years, all these guys that are what they say are strong. You know, what's the word I'm looking for? Farm strong. It's a different word, but modern guys like Brock Lesnar, his family owned a cattle ranch.
Right.
The Jay Cutlers, people like that own cattle ranches, and they're just so.
Well, we did a lot of movement. Like I said, when we were kids, we stayed out till the lights were out. We didn't come home and do video games and stuff like that. We were riding bikes. We were riding horses and shooting guns and all kinds of stuff growing up. We didn't stay at home and watch TV and do video games.
So when did you get the powerlifting bug? Because if I'm not mistaken, you're the first person on record at 19 years old to have a 500-pound bench, correct?
Yes. What happened there is when I was a junior, one of the guys that played football got his license, and we were about 15 miles from the closest regular gym. So we went to the gym called Denae's. It was in Fresno. At the time, it was owned by 2 brothers, Scott and Gary Leonard. They were Leonard was a USA. No, he's Mr. California or something like that. And there was also a guy there that was one of the only 600-pound benchers around at that time. His name was Fred Moore.
Okay.
That's who the first guy.
You've competed against Fred Moore.
Oh, yeah. I came back and
how was that? I'm gonna skip ahead.
Back. It's like me going to get somebody now. He was not in his prime. He was from the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
And I was from the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
So it wasn't a fair competition once I got to where I was at. But when I was growing up, he taught me a lot. I watched some things because growing up, you have to figure out what works for you.
Okay.
So you watch a lot of people, and that's kind of where I got the strength bug because it came natural.
Yeah.
The first time we went in there, we did a summer. And that summer, I was able to do a 400-pound tricep press because it wasn't really a bench press because I brought it down to about 2 inches from my chin.
Okay.
And locked it out.
They call that the Spotto press now.
Well,
there's a name for it now.
Okay.
It's something they do now.
Well, anyway, that's how I started because you try to bench with who you're with, but that's how I could steady it. And that's what came to me naturally.
So
and then I kind of refined.
We're 17 with 400-pound Spotto press. You guys like to.
So yeah, I got there, got into that stuff, and then went to, just kind of did that. And then when I got into college, started doing a little more with the teams, and
Okay.
they knew more about lifting and the gyms
the
there.
college is where you progressed a little bit more.
Yeah, I started hearing about powerlifting in college,
Okay.
but it wasn't until I moved to Bakersfield. I came to Bakersfield to work in the oil fields for a summer.
Okay.
But I ended up staying here. But
Well, that's it's the great black hole.
and yeah, I came in there and I said, where do people work out? They said, oh, Babe's Gym, or what else was at the time? There was Rain Tree, and there was Eagles. There were just a bunch of little gyms that didn't have very much into it. So someone said, go down to Chester. There's a place called New World.
Okay.
So I went down to New World, and that's where they were trying to power lift there. They'd have like a day that everybody went in and squatted on Saturdays, and kind of did that. And they went in there and they seen I was handling 400 pounds pretty easily. So they said, why don't you try to compete? So I was only 19. So they go, that's where I started powerlifting there.
So that meet where you did 500 as a 19-year-old was your first meet?
No, I came in at 4s, like the middle 4s.
Okay.
And then I went up to 5. And then, like I said, when I turned 20, I did 600 pounds over here at that World of Wheels.
Okay.
And I just kept going. And then once first I did, because every time I went out, it was like breaking a record, because I started with the 4s. And then when I got to 535, it was the open state record.
Now, were you still a teen when you hit 6? No, you said you were 20.
I was 20 when I hit 600.
20 when you hit 600. For you that are going to catch this video later, I see that not a lot of people have tuned in. For you that are going to catch this later, this man, 600 at 20. People go their whole lives and can't even sniff something like that. So at 20, you're doing 6. Is that when did you get the invite? Because he used to do the ESPN show.
It was called the Record Breakers in Oahu at the Waikiki Sheraton.
And they would fly you out to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And this is you would compete against the legends of that time, Anthony Clark's, Ted Arsenis.
Oh yeah.
So he was being flown out to be on ESPN to compete in these shows tell us about that.
As we got better, like I said, it was just me, Steve Foster, and Kent Bush.
I'm gonna come back to Steve.
And so that's who got me started, was those guys.
Okay.
I started going with them, and that's who I started powerlifting. But as I got better and I broke more records, then I started getting invitations to different meets, Santa Cruz, San Diego. They would invite us to go.
When you got your first invite to Hawaii, well, how was that? How was that feeling?
Oh, that was great. It was great. But I didn't take anybody the first time. But because I noticed that everybody took like a couple people with them, friends or spotters and stuff. Yeah, somebody to go watch the table and to help you load and warm up and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Now, did that first one, and you don't have anybody there, did they kind of like shun you a little bit? Because
because once you get up there, they're kind of everybody's.
Okay.
They're all helpful and stuff. Like Ed Cohn and Doug Vermess, they were kind of helping me load my plates and stuff.
But I'm pretty sure the other bench pressers weren't helping you.
Not really. I went with this guy from back east. I forgot what his name was. Dix or something like. He's like a 220 doing a 600-pound bench.
Let's see now. Scott Foster did 220 at. He was 220 and did 530, right?
Yeah, 500. He had the state record at 220.
And so this guy did 600 at 220.
Yeah, he was from back east. It was like he only did it that one, and then we never seen him no more.
If you guys don't understand what I'm saying, 220, that's 220 pounds. That's all he weighed.
Yeah, it's 110 kilo weight class. Yes. So it's 220 pounds.
Yes.
But yeah, we went there. But what I'm saying is, we did hang out with those guys because we went to Pearl Harbor and stuff like that. The whole group of us.
So your first one, you were having fun sightseeing.
Oh yeah. We did a little because I was there like the week before. So it wasn't all just show up and do it.
How much did ESPN pay for the trip?
Oh, there was different things. Like the guy putting it on, Guth Reftwich. You probably know him from The Running Man. He was the guy with the saws.
Okay.
He's the one that ran the meet.
So he's a legend.
Yeah, he was a legend too. He wasn't never a champion, but he was a good lifter.
Okay.
But he's the one that put it on every year. He kind of worked there, but he was from Bend, Oregon originally. Then he was kind of on
It gives me a new outlook on The Running Man because I did not know that about him.
Yeah, well, he was in there. He was in there, and some other guys that were the famous, like from Kidney's gym down there in Pasadena or wherever they were down in that area. So we, those kind of guys were come and go. But yeah, he was the one that set it up. He's the one to give the invite, and they do like they take care of your room, or someone would take care of your plane ticket. We never got that much money or anything, but they take care of your accommodations.
So when you were competing against these guys, what was the drive? So we're going to go to year 2 because you got year 1 out the one.
Well, like I said, it was always just the challenge that you're always getting ready for your meet, right? You're always getting ready. You're always getting ready. And that was kind of what the draw was to me, because it gave you a deadline. You got to get ready for this meet at this date. So that's all it was. I was just always trying to get better. And then, like you said, I was always wanting to, and I was always seeing if I could find something from somebody else that I could use to make me better.
The last time I searched your name up, it's been about 2 years, and I don't think much has been done in 2 years. You still were a top 20 all-time bench presser.
Okay.
Yeah, you were still top 20 raw. So, and your last years of competing were when?
89 was the last time I did that meet, because I went to that 89. I did the record breakers, and we also went to Italy and with the Montesano and Pescara.
Now, Italy, was that the same? Was that the same thing?
It was kind of the same thing. It was just they gathered a bunch of the top lifters, and we just went over there and we did like an exhibition for the country. We did a television thing, and just it was just kind of like a trip. I also got invited to Russia, Helsinki in Russia, but that was the year before in '88. But the planes got up and I didn't get to finish that one. But yeah, we got a couple of trips like that.
How was Russia?
I didn't get to go because I got stuck in.
You got snowed out?
No, the plane got held up for some reason. I was Montreal. I only made it to Montreal, and I came back home because I got all ready. And
I think Russia would have been fun because
it would have been fun. It was the year before, but then it was fun going to Italy also. So we sang out there. It was in Montesano right there on the coast of the.
So you got
Adriatic Sea.
I mean, what were you, about 330, 340 back then?
No, it's only a 275
pounder.
You were
275er, okay.
I would like a 242 most of the time. And then I got tired of cutting weight because I was like 260 going down to 240s. And it was just like wrestling. They always want you to get smaller and smaller and come back up. But I said, man, with my work schedule and all that stuff, I'm just going to lift and be wherever I'm at.
Now you're credited with 655.
At 275.
Yes. So that's your credit. But you have actually handled 700.
Yeah, I've done 700. I did triples with 670, 75, and I locked out 7-something over there in Italy because they loaded it wrong. They put an extra 45. I wanted 660, and they added.
Now, how come that one's not? How come that one doesn't show up?
Well, it was an. I don't know why they didn't. It's the meat's not in there. I don't think it was official meat.
Okay, is that why?
Well, the thing of it is like I did 667 over here in Fresno at that thing, but it's not a sanctioned meet. You don't have the judges. These things don't count unless you have judges.
Yes.
Just like when I did my first national record, it was over in Ohio at this Aeronautics Hall of Fame in Ohio. So, but you have to have the judges. That's the thing that.
So you've got a 707 in a contest. So
the best one was at 678 because I did 678 the last year in '89 over at
and that was
Hawaii.
At Hawaii. And that
677 point whatever it is.
Yeah, and so okay. So I'm going to talk about.
I locked it out. So I'm, that's.
Now, if you guys don't understand, how impressive it is when you lift in that kind of weight. You've got your gym bro, and I'm a strong gym bro. I am a strong gym bro, and it's real easy to be a strong gym bro because nobody's telling me how ugly my lift looked, when to take it off, when to push it, and when to rack it. When he's doing these contests, you get a command to take off.
Well, yeah, you're doing a different bench that you've never benched off of. You got different spotters. Sometimes you have to walk long distances. Sometimes it's just you have to do it with whatever you have there. Like when I was in Dallas, we went to Dallas one year and it was on a wooden stage. And man, you're walking and it's like this.
And now you got to lay down with your body weight and the other weight, hoping the stage doesn't crumble.
Well, yeah, you're hoping that the guy's not going to drop it because a lot of times when it's a lot of weight, they're going to drop it right in your eyes. Because I was one time in Weirton, West Virginia, and the guy was on plates and he slipped and he threw it right out there and pulled my pec. That was first
Oh
injury.
my goodness.
But I'm just saying, you just never knew what you was going to
Yeah.
get. So that's why you like to take someone with you that could lift off for you
Now,
and that kind of stuff. But
the
that's
other-
the kind of stuff that that the obstacles you have to go through when you just go out there by yourself.
because you're going to these host you're going to these host meets. You're being invited.
Right. You got to a certain, when you got to a certain level, because that
Yeah.
was like I said, that 639, the first world record was like the fourth best bench, legal bench
Uh-huh.
of all time of the sport at that time.
Yes.
So
And that was you, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, like I said, then I started using the shirt because that guy that used to make the shirts, what was his name? Anyway, then he started sponsoring me, and then I got free shirts, and then I was starting to do that stuff.
So
But
now the point I was making is when you're handling the weight, it's the gym bro, you decide when to go back up. So now
but
for you, there's somebody telling you press, and you might get some, I've seen jerks before. I've gone to these meets and I've seen the ref, and I hate to call a ref a jerk. It's my pet peeve when see somebody with a huge amount of weight and you see that long pause. So that you just don't know how the referee's going to call it.
right, that, and you don't know how flexible the bar is going to be,
Okay.
because then there's what they call playing the whip, because that's what happened to me on that 678. Is they said you press, and the weights go down. And then you got to wait just a little bit for them to go up so you can ride the weights going up. Well, otherwise, if you push and keep pushing, it's going to push you this way or this way. Because working at Strength and Health, we had to use nothing but 45.
Uh-huh.
So I learned how to use the whip.
Okay.
And that's a big thing too, is knowing how to be patient. Because if you try to just, ram it up, that stuff's going to go like this, and you're going to be going down, and you're going up when it's going down, and you're going to get thrown all out of the groove. So there's a lot more to it than just.
So you people that understand riding the whip, there's a certain amount of weight that makes the bar bend. And when you move the bar and it goes down, it's going to come back.
The momentum is going down. You have to wait for it to start coming back up and then ride it on up.
Because if you come up too soon, you're fighting.
Then it's going to whip me going down where you're going up, and then when it goes up, it's going to throw you all out because
that's where you have people that get stuck. So we're in this contest, so I'm going to go journey down the memories and the legend of Sam. We're going to go down the legend of Sam. Okay, these are the legendary things of Sam that have been preached for years. So we're going to talk about strength and health. Okay. So the legend is Sam came in from off work in his coveralls, and a guy was benching 500, and I want to say it's either 5 or 550, and he stood up and looked at you and said, "I got you finally." And you looked at him, laughed, laid down, fresh off the street, and repped his weight and laughed at him and walked away. You had a little more words to say, but since we're keeping it rated G.
Well, like I said, there's been a couple times of doing it, but the most one that was out in the open was when the second year after I benched the 600 at that World of Wheels.
Uh-huh.
Then they said they were going to pay me to be a guest speaker.
Well, so, see, I would get to that one right now. That's the other legend.
I thought that's what be the one you're talking about. That wouldn't happen too, where I just repped it, because like I said, you can do it because it's your gym, your bench, and you can,
Now, was it 5 or 550 on that one?
I don't know. It's probably 5 plates. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how much.
So if you guys don't understand what I'm saying, this man, fresh off the street, still in his coveralls, he lived in coveralls back then, walks in off the gym. Somebody issues a challenge because they believe that they finally have caught up to the man, because you were the man when it came to laying down on your back lifting, has told him that they've caught him, and he lays down. I mean, I don't think you're going to find too many people outside of maybe the legends like like today would be Julius Maddox. Somebody like that young man that's just going to walk in off the street, snatch 500, rep it, put it back, and laugh at the person that called you out. There were a couple more colorful words.
Well, yeah, when you're young, you got young arms and joints. You could do that stuff. I could do 20 reps with 400. I could do, easy 10, 15 reps with 500. That it doesn't equal out, because they said if you do this, you get that on the end. But then, like I told you, you got the other factors of the equipment you're using. Yeah. I don't know. I hear about all these big benches now. They must have a lot more equipment, and the way they they get it off, and the equipment and the shirts.
Well, that wasn't now.
Everything is different now. So, but back then it was a little more prehistoric.
Well, as I said, now
a little old fashioned.
That's one of the good things about the USPA. The USPA, a lot of you youngsters don't know who Sam is. A lot of you youngsters don't know who Anthony is. A lot of you youngsters don't know who Ted is. Simply because when the USPA
they weren't born.
when it came, it pushed them out, and so these records that you guys are breaking. If you were ever to look back into the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, you would be like, oh, because I remember when the USPA first came out and these people were setting records, I was like, huh? But the good thing about the USPA is, like you were saying, you were never sure of the bar. You were never sure of the bench. You were never sure of the spotters. You were never sure of these things. The good thing about the USPA is they actually have a sanctioned bench. They have sanctioned bars. So you're going to have the same bench. You're going to have the same bar. You're not allowed to host a meet if you do not have the same bench or the same bar.
Yeah, they should be a side height, the lifts, the rates.
Now, could you imagine if every gym you went to and every meet you competed, you knew what the bench would have been like?
It does a lot to do with the outcome.
If you knew what the bar was going to be like.
Sure.
So, like, when you're like, it's easy to warm up. Like you said, warm up, you're hitting 400 for 20. So you're warming up in the back with 400 and 400 and 500. If it's a different feel. 500 to 600 is a different feel. So you don't know what that bar is going to do.
Right.
So
and then your footing's a big thing too. If the footing is slippery,
yes,
and your feet got to be flat, this kind of things. It's a little more technical than
now. I'm gonna jump ahead to the story that you thought I was going to talk about. So the other legend of Sam is Sam was there was a bench press competition here in Bakersfield. And this is how the legend goes, and he'll correct your correct story. So the legend is there's a bench press in Bakersfield. The guy wins it. I think it was 550, 555, right in there. And as they're handing him his trophy, Sam comes out of the out of the audience, cold as the refrigerator door, lays down and hits the championship, because what was the baddest bencher in Bakersfield or something like that?
I don't think it was around Bakersfield because it was open to everybody. So yeah. I don't think it was.
I think the name of the
here.
Competition was the baddest bencher, something like that.
It was World Wheels bench press.
Okay,
and that World Wheels because it was in conjunction with a car show.
Okay.
So anyway, it was on the stage at what they called the Civic then, is Robobank. I don't know what it's called anymore, but yeah. Well, anyway, what it was is that I was sitting in the audience and I just got up and I just repped out whatever was left on the bar. That's basically what I did. He said, well, it's your turn. Go up there. And I just
see. Well, the legend is the guy was still getting his trophy when you decided to go.
I don't even give him trophies yet, but I just used what was left there at the last lift. That's all. So
yeah, I've got this trophy. My guy just lifted this, rep my weight, huh?
I kept my sweatpants on for that one.
So, and that's what I mean. You guys don't understand. This is the ghost of who I chased my whole life was Sam. I mean, he's coming cold from outside. Did you even think about warming up, or are you just thinking like, eh?
I kind of did, but we were sitting down and was, how mates go. They go for a long time.
Yeah.
And I felt pretty good because it wasn't cold or anything. No.
Okay.
So I felt pretty good. So I went out there and did it. So
just walk up there and rep the guy's top lift. You're getting your trophy, your medal, and this guy's over here, and you hear because there's a certain noise that iron makes at a heavy weight. You could just hear this clankety clankety clank clank, and you look over your shoulder and like he's repping out the thing you're getting an award for.
Whatever the last lift was. Yeah.
So those are some of the. I mean, man, I get gold for the days. So Sam, one of the things. Tell us a little bit about your generation. You mentioned Scott. You mentioned some of those other guys. A lot of you guys out there don't realize that Bakersfield was on the international map in the 70s and the 80s. Tell us about your generation.
Let's see. I don't know what you mean by that. But,
just
you mean the characters that were lifting at the time.
Some of the numbers, like I know you have your full power is a 2100.
Well, the big thing then was the 700-pound bench. The big thing then was breaking the 1,000-pound barrier.
Okay.
I also trained with Lee Moran up in Alameda.
Okay.
That's who kind of got my squat going, because I tried to lift like these guys that were smaller guys with a narrower grip and narrower stance. So I went up there and trained with him a little while, and he widened out my stance and widen out my grip, and my weight went up 100 pounds, just by mechanics.
So you do have
So-
a 21
Yeah.
21 and
150.
change total.
Yeah.
So
So
before
it's a
you,
respectable. Yeah, I did. I
before
was,
you guys say he's only a bench press man, he's got a 21 to his name.
yeah, I was third in the senior national,
Yes,
so I was all right.
There you go. So like you mentioned Scott, you mentioned the black guy. I'm going blank on his name. The one you said was who helped you out. Tell us a little bit about these guys.
That was Lee Moran. He wasn't black.
Okay, no, the guy that when you were bench pressing. You said when you first started as a youngster, he helped you out.
He wasn't black.
Okay.
Either. You mean Fred Moore?
Yes.
Fred Moore, yeah, he was.
So these guys,
I'm just saying, yeah, you had those things, so those were already things that had already been done. So you were just out to get those guys that were the top of the gym.
okay. So how would you
But like I say, 500 was a big bench. There wasn't very many people doing 500 at the time.
That-
400 was what everybody was after then.
so you look at these things. Like I said, you're still top 20. I mean, you're still top 20. So it's not like a lot of people still aren't doing that.
And it's been 40 years.
Yes, exactly. That's my point. You've got years upon years upon years. You mean,
Well, they're much more sophisticated as far as diets and training methods and all that stuff now. Like I said, you work 12 hours and come into the gym and work out 2 hours, go home and eat and do it again.
and a lot of these guys, they're getting paid. You guys didn't have sponsors, did you?
Oh, no. I got, vitamins, you got the shirts, you got little stuff.
Yeah.
But
These guys get
nothing-
paid to lift now.
Right.
I mean, could you imagine like social media when you were
Oh, yeah, getting all the recuperative training and stuff that can
Yes.
make you heal faster and everything else. Yeah.
and sports science has come so far.
Sure.
So Sam, in parting, we keep these shows about 30 minutes. We're coming up to the end of it.
Okay.
Tell us some pointers to help people out there with their lifts. A couple bench press pointers.
Well, basically, it's all about mechanics.
Okay.
Because if you have bad mechanics, and you got to find out what your strength parts are.
Okay.
If you're a tricep bencher because you don't have a naturally large chest or a chest that develops, you're going to be an arm bencher. If you're going to be a chest bencher, you're going to get out a little bit wider, and you got to keep it in your power zone. You got to find out where your power zone is on your chest. Is it right off underneath your nipples, or is it up a little bit higher? Everybody's got, because it depends on if you're a tricep bencher or a chest bencher.
Okay.
So you got to do that, because everything you got to find out what works for you. But basically, you got to find out where your sweet spots are and your mechanics, and then you just have to refine it after that.
Okay.
Because like I said, I wasn't always the biggest or the strongest, but I just learned what worked for me.
I would beg to differ. I mean, when you're still a top 20 all-time bench presser, I
benched with them, but I didn't look that strong. I didn't think, as far as some people.
Rare air. I mean, rare air. I mean, you talking about the people that on that list that were ahead of you. You're talking about the Bill Kazmaiers, the Anthony Clarks, the Icini's. There's a very few people that were ahead of you.
Right.
And everybody that was ahead of you was as they got publicized in magazines where you didn't.
Right.
And I think that's the only reason why the world does not know more about the legend of Sam Samiago.
Right.
So once again, this has been a great episode of Muscle Matters. I'm glad I got to hang out with my hero, the ghost that I chased, the guy that I could only dream about being as strong as him. So thank you guys very much. Leave a comment down below. This has been another episode of Muscle Matters. See you next week.